Well, a blessed, merry, and happy Christmas to all of you. I'm going to cover all the bases there. I think one of the things that strikes me every year about Christmas is its tenderness. Its tenderness. Despite it all, and maybe because of it all, what I see and what I experience is that no matter who they are or where they find themselves, people, above all, desire to connect and to reach out. In simple ways, sending a Christmas card, if you still send a Christmas card by snail mail, or an email, or some kind of message, or maybe you get in touch with a dear old friend you haven't been in touch with all year, but you still love and care for. You have family over, or you go to family. And lots of different ways in which we gather and connect and do things together. This is the season for that. It is so tender, and it never ceases to amaze me and strike me time and time again. God bless for this time. God bless for the tenderness of Christmas. When I was a boy, back in the dark ages, don't laugh, it's not funny. Yeah. When I was a boy, maybe 9 or 10, I had this sudden revelation. And it really kind of shook my world because it was terrifying. It was this terrifying revelation. And what it had to do with was this. I realized that if God was all-powerful and omnipotent, then God could see me wherever I was. God could see me on my way to school. God could see me on my way home. God could see me at the dinner table. God could see me hiding under the bed covers. That wasn't too bad. You know, the really awful thing was that I realized God could see me in the bathroom. And I'm sorry to bring that up on a Christmas evening, but it has to be said. And I just was terrified by this. I was just terrified that God would see me in my all-together, especially in the shower, and I just felt so embarrassed and so ashamed. So embarrassed and so ashamed. Because here I was, my little puny 10-year-old body, weak and helpless, and next to God, all-powerful, all-powerful. I wanted to hide. Years later, what I came to discover, and I think especially through Christmas, are two things that kind of added, or kind of, I wouldn't say took away my terror completely, but sort of filled in the picture, if you will. Of course, God sees us all the time, wherever we are. Maybe I should remember that more often, particularly when I'm just about to step off the beaten path and go my own way. Maybe I should remember that God sees and knows. Not in a way of judgment, but just in a way of love. But of course God sees. And part of the incarnation is that God has experienced all of this himself, herself. God has been flesh and blood. God has been skin and bone. In all its glory, in all of its weakness, in all of its beauty, and sometimes in all of its degradation, we feel it. We feel our bodies all the time. And God has felt all of this too. God has had hands and feet and eyes and spit. Yeah, that's the incarnation. And that means that God knows and God understands. There is nothing that we experience that God has not experienced before us. Not up there in heaven, far away, removed from us, but as a human being, 2 feet on the ground, rooted, limited, loved, cold, hungry, full, afraid, joyful, all of it, all of it, all of it. But that's not all. Because I believe God isn't present and wasn't just present all those years ago in a time far, far, in a land far, far away. God is here. God is here. God is here. God is here. The very fact that we're alive, the very fact that we exist, the very fact that we have life and breath is because God has given it to us. And God lives inside of us. And God lives in the faces of the people that we meet each and every day, friend and foe alike. And God is in the creation, and God is under our feet. That's the incarnation. That God isn't removed. And let me bring you back to my boyhood dilemma and terror. I think the reason why I was terrified was because I made a primary mistake. I thought that I was just here and God was out there looking down. And what I failed to recognize is, yes, God is up there because God is more than we can ever know or imagine. But God is also right here and with us, loving us, walking with us every step of the journey. God was there at the beginning, at the moment of our conception. God will be with us in our last breath. And all of those steps in between. That's the joy. That's the mystery. That is the love of Christmas. And so, whatever happens to you between now and next year, if you're here or if you are gone, know that there is nothing to be afraid of. Ever. That doesn't mean to say it won't be hard. That doesn't mean to say that it might not require all that we've got, our very best efforts, and then some. To be stretched beyond and to be stretched in ways that we didn't think possible. We didn't know we could do it. But there is never, ever, ever anything to be afraid of. Ever again.